Another day, another share with Phyllis. That's me. Okay, so last week we worked on the Creative Grid log cabin ruler, square up ruler, or whatever. Anyways, let me get the ruler. So this is what we've been working with. And last week we did the log cabin, the traditional log cabin. And this is called the Log Cabin Trim Tool 2. And the reason why it's called 2 is because you can do a 12-inch block or the 6-inch block. So I'm just showing you the steps quickly with a 6-inch block, not a 12-inch. And I'm really liking this ruler, and I'm having a lot of fun working with the ruler. And it comes with instructions how to do the different blocks. And you can do a traditional log cabin, you can do courthouse step, and half log cabin. Last week I showed you the courthouse, the log cabin block and the steps and how to how to trim it up and everything. And today I'm going to show you the courthouse steps, how to put those together. Now I've just gotten, I'll show you the block. This is the block here. And it's exactly 6 inches. Okay, and there's the middle block. All right, so this, for the courtyard step, it works the same way as the regular log cabin block. So we're going to start with this. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with the 2-inch square if you're doing the 6-inch. If you're doing the 12-inch, you need to start with the 3.5-inch square for the center piece. Okay, and then you're going to sew 2 pieces on here first, this side and this side, and then you're going to sew these ones on. And to square this up, you're going to start, there's squares here. There's a square in white here, there's a square in black here, there's a square in white, and then a square in black. So that would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. The second square in black is actually the center of the block. And again, you have the same thing here. You have a square in white here, you have a square in black, then you have a square in white, and then the center square, the fourth one, is the one in the center. And this one out here in the corner is for the half log cabin, and you would start to, when you put your log cabins together or your courthouse step, you actually start with this square or this square, which is considered the second square. And you will place it down. Just let me make sure that I'm still in camera view. Okay, you would place it over your 2-inch square. I like to line up some lines to make sure that it's as square as I can get it. And then you would just cut the top and bottom, and then you would turn this so this side and this side has to be cut now, because this side and this side we just cut. And then you would turn it and square that up. And I'm just checking, there's these white dotted lines and solid lines to make the squares, to draw the squares. And I use them to line things up. And then that gets whacked off. And that one is ready now to put on your next pieces. So we would start with these 2 pieces on either side of the green, and then the 2 pieces on the white, and that would look like that. Okay. Now there's something else I didn't mention. we cut these pieces, when we sew these pieces on, we cut them quite long. So I'm going to just take my K. Buckley scissors, and I'm just going to trim them off because I don't want them showing behind my light fabric, and they will show. So I'm just going to quickly trim them off, and then that one's done. So that's this piece in here. Now this one here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim off the excess pieces just by hand. You don't need to get all worked up. And I'm going to go behind here and do the same thing here. Doesn't have to be perfect because you've already made your seam allowance. Okay? So when you go and put these on, you would put on these two green ones first, and then you'd put the off-white ones on. Okay? And then to square it up, you would move over to the next square, which is a white square, and the black square and the white square are overlapping a little bit. And you'll see that when you get the ruler and look at it and start working with it. And then you just trim off the excess here. And then you would turn it. This side and this side's been cut. Now we have to cut this side and this side. And then we put the ruler again with the white square. And that's the third square from this corner. This is a square here, there's a square here, and then there's a square here. That's the third square. And then you would trim this. And this one's all ready to put 2 strips here and then the 2 strips there. And then the last one is, you've got, this one here is this part here. This one is this part here. Now we have these 2 to go on and these 2 to go on. And before I square this up, I want to get rid of these extra lengths. They tell you to do that extra length because it just makes it a little easier. It doesn't need to be perfectly lined up in that case, and everything comes out hunky-dory after you've trimmed up at each stage of the construction of the block. So there you go. And now I'm going to get this ready. Now this is the full size. There's nothing more that we're going to be putting on to this. So this square has to line up to that center square where the writing is. And we're going to do, now I look here, these dots, and I look here, I try to make sure it's kind of straight. Everything's straight this way and this way. And I just square up the excess. We turn it. So this side and this side, this has been done. This side and this side has to be squared up. We square up the center square, which is a black square. And I line up to make sure things look straight. And I cut off the excess. And there is my courtyard steps. This is a really fun block. Now you can do it, I started with my greens, but the pattern shows it by starting with the whites. So this would have been the smaller part. I just went and did it the other way from the ruler, but than what the pattern explains you to do. But I'm really happy with the finished result. And these blocks are fun. I love courtyard steps. I really love them. And this ruler makes it so super, super easy. So this is the Log Cabin Trim Tool 2, and you can do 12-inch blocks or you can do the 6-inch blocks. I do have the 8-inch one that just does the 8-inch one, and it works exactly the same thing. So next week, I'm going to show you how to do and use this ruler again with the half log cabin block. So I'm hoping that you will go back and take a look at the other video, because I explained the sizes of strips you're supposed to do and the size of squares depending on which size you're going to do, because there's different sizes of the squares and the strips that you have to do for the 6 or the 12, and I explained that in the last week's video. So we will see you next week. That is it for today's show and share. And happy quilting, everybody. Bye.